Okay, we're moving on to 6.2, which is a second reading on procurement. Can I have a motion, please?
Some questions.
Don't we need to have a motion second first?
Yes, you do.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion?
So with this policy, when we talk about professionals, I mean, obviously we have an attorney that we turn to on a regular basis, and we don't bid that out every year. And we have insurance people, and we have architects. But yet, we seem to go out for architects and insurance people on a regular basis, which is a good idea. But doesn't there come a time when you rely on your architect and your insurance person to be like part of your group that you go to and say, hey, look, we're thinking about insurance on this, or we're thinking about, redoing this building, instead of procuring 3 bids or 3 estimates or whatever. It would seem to be much more efficient and much more better and get better service if we could still go to, someone who's part of our trust, part of our, Jim Lumber used to call it part of our family that we felt comfortable with. Would this prohibit us from that, or?
It would not. We still retain the flexibility we have with professional services. All of the items you just specified, trying to get the college on a rotation, two very big things of that, having these contracts in at least a 3-year time period with an additional 2-year renewals, but still we are social flexibility if the administration recommends to the board that we think it wouldn't be in the best interest to invest the time and money into procuring new services. But also we've added to every contract as well language that allows us to eliminate upon convenience in case, for the other side of this, if the board chooses that it may not be happy with a particular service, but we still have the flexibility.
I mean, that thought came to me. I had a pre-op physical last night, and just a minor scoping of my knee from bad golfing. but I mean, it dawned on me when I sat there with my doctor, who had all my records, everything that he knows about my health, that I didn't have to go over that again with a new person because I just bid it out to somebody. And it made more sense to be able to say to my doctor to say to me, is there anything that you want to talk about, instead of, then he took some blood and then he made sure my lungs were fine, away I go. But boy, if that was the first time to see that doctor, that could have been an hour-long meeting with them. And it dawned on me that we have people that work with the college that we should be able to turn to for their expertise without, going and bidding it out. It just seems to make more sense, more efficient.
This section hasn't changed at all, has it? Selection of professional services. The only things that have changed are in bold italics or have been lined out for deletion. So the way that things have been done in the past, they can continue to be done with respect to professional services.
Aren't those statutory exceptions? They're set up by other statutes.
There are statutory exceptions, and I was just noticing that the policy itself says the Board of Trustees may determine that a service does not require competitive bidding because of the lack of a competitive environment, or the uniqueness of the service and of the provider.
And that was the language that I thought, I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. I know there's been some criticism in the past about, no bid contracts and stuff, but yet these are the things that we rely on professionals to do for us. And if we don't have them in that position, then I think it would be even more difficult for us. So that was my point.
Other discussion?
Yes, I have a question. I'm curious about the descriptor here, disadvantaged business enterprises, which include minorities, women, and veterans.
What is the, I guess maybe Michelle or David, what is the history of that descriptor, I guess? And how long has it been the official grouping, I guess?
I've had a long interest in an association with government purchasing, but not as long as Michelle, so I'll let her answer.
Okay, Michelle.
Originally, I think we had descriptors such as MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, WBE, Women Business Enterprise, and so now what federal government as the leader has done is try to kind of group them all together as a DBE, and it's a disadvantaged business enterprise. So they list pretty much the WBE, the MBE, the veterans, small businesses, and underneath all of that, because disadvantaged business could include Indian businesses. I mean, there's just a lot more. And so one of the reasons why we added that here was because the concern was if we called out the DBE, the women, the veterans, and the local, then, you know, sooner or later someone's going to say, well, what about this group or that group? So we just kind of incorporated the DBE as a whole.
And they used to call it minority business enterprises, and there were all kinds of other little acronyms for it. But you're right, somebody could get left out because you're not going to hit on every little group that might be out there. So this covers us.
The state of Illinois has also adopted DBE as the official language as well.
So when did the state adopt the official language?
I would say it's not been too long ago. I probably noticed a change about 20 years ago.
I should say it's been a couple of years.
But yeah, pretty recent in the state. At any rate. It allows as well the board the flexibility in the future, any governmental agency, to determine based on data what is a disadvantaged business without being boxed into specific things that they want to change the policy.
And who defines what is disadvantaged? Does it also, is there a definition from the state that describes what is in fact disadvantaged, or how much leeway does one get? Like if there was a business that really enjoyed wearing red, so they're a red wearing business, and are they disadvantaged?
What red hats?
It's a red hat. Well, that's actually
No, that's little old
actually an
ladies.
association. So, you know, who defines who is disadvantaged? Because, you know, we like to know, 'cause sometimes people make themselves disadvantaged, so they can be,
They have to fall into a specific category with specific criteria in order to be considered by the state or by the agencies as a disadvantaged business. And there are criteria out there.
And so the language follows what the federal and state governments have advanced. It does not preclude that in the future that something else might be added either by policy or by procedure, but by with the board's consent.
the intent of the law.
Yeah, I have
The
another,
intent.
I have another question, so. All right, David, I have a question on the 01 point, where we're talking about 125,000, and we took out the sentence about we give preference to business, local businesses. Okay, that's when we're not in the competitive bid area, because we're under 25,000. So I don't know why we took the sentence out. What is it hurt?
The reason is it was repetitive because we added the last revision, we added a whole section on local aid.
Right, we added 06, or
06.
it's not really added, but it's in there. But it talks about when you do open and competitive bids, but when you're under 25,000, you're not doing open and competitive bids. So that's a different type of purchase. You know what I mean? You're gonna have something that you don't have to do a whole bid process, correct?
That's a great point. That's a good point.
Correct. So, I mean, I don't understand. Redundancy, I can understand when you wanna take out redundancy, but I also think it doesn't hurt, and I think we're making a statement.
I quite agree. I was viewing the other section as both bid and non-bid, but this will make it clearer for the board. I think it would be a change.
So we want to include that again. Any other discussion? Do you need an amended motion to reinstate that language? May I have a
Yeah,
motion,
you get,
please?
yeah, they can accept the.
A motion to approve, yeah, who made the motion?
Dr. Kerrigan.
Okay. So will you make the motion to re-include that language? Okay. And a second, okay.
Pass it as.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Teeday? Aye. Ms. Kashgarian? Dr. Griffin? Ms. Holland? Mrs. Oshlager?
Aye.
Ms. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan?
Aye.
Item 6.3, invoices. This is also a second reading. The changes are in bold italics. Deletions are lined out. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
I have a question because I thought that our prior policy said that we were approving expenditures over $5,000. No. Okay, so help me out with where that fit in.
We may have had a discussion on internal controls. Once the board approves the budget, requisitions in excess of $5,000 are approved, have their separate approval process up to the vice presidents at the college, and if they're out of Rich or I's departments, if we had a $5,000 expenditure, we go to Dr. Weber for his approval. But that would have been the only place that we would have said that. You may have heard that other colleges have certain thresholds or numbers that they look at. We, working with council, have determined that all of the bills that the board pays need to come to the board at some point. We believe the language allows us enough flexibility that we avoid having late fees and keep the operations of the college going.
Right, and you also protect us by saying that it's all been staff approved before we see it. But we talked about that this would be a new procedure, that we're gonna get 40 pages of bills each month. So help me out here with how, what am I missing? Because I thought that the reason that we weren't getting, I mean, I understand that we approved the budget and we also approved the quarterly financials and all that, but I thought that because we weren't getting the breakdown of every single bill each month before, and now we are, how does that play out in here?
Yeah, I think is the reference in Gene to start in December by bringing, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, so we're just waiting for the approval of the policy, and then on the month of December, I don't know if we can figure out what number it'll be, but probably 7.3 in the book. 7.3 will say approval to pay the bills of the college. All governments worded differently.
That's what it used to say.
Yeah, and
Back to the future.
And we will provide, have a reference either on the agenda or in the book I don't think we want to put it in the book. We at least want to have it either, I think we want it separate. We can try different things. We're also going to try to look at some technological ways to see if you might be comfortable with that. But just to get this going, we're going to do it on paper to start.
I think you'll probably get it separate to start till we figure that. That's the easiest way, but there'll be an item in here that references that.
All right. Other discussion?
I think when we talked about this before as well, we talked about, he gave us an example, listing different account numbers that reference whatever the expenditure was. We also need some kind of a crosswalk to determine what that was. So will that be the information that we get in December as well?
That's what I anticipate. In the front of the book, we'll have a list of the accounts and their names. But we were able to get the report. You can let me know if it is too small. We were able to get to the report that you can see the amount, the department, the account, and the name of the account all on one line, as well as a comment section with the purpose of for the purchase. It's usually one or two words, office supplies, that kind of thing. But it'll be a work in progress, I'm sure, but it'll start with Crossville.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Ms. Teeday? Ms. Kashgarian? Dr. Griffin? Ms. Holland? Mrs. O'Connor? Ms. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan?
Moving on to 6.4, which is a second reading on the disposal of worthless and obsolete equipment. Again, changes are in bold italics, and anything for deletion is lined out. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Teeday? Ms. Kashgarian? Dr. Griffin? Ms. Holland? Mrs. O'Connor? Ms. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan?
Aye.